The painful truth is this: sometimes the woman who looks like she moved on is still carrying her silence in places nobody can see. She may smile in public, she may post like nothing happened, she may act cold when your name comes up, she may tell her friends she is fine, she may even convince herself that she made the right decision, but when the noise stops, when the phone gets quiet, when there is no one left to impress, a different feeling can start showing up. Not because you are trying to hurt her, not because your silence is a weapon, not because you want revenge, but because your absence has finally become real. And there are two things most men never understand. First, the woman who acts the most moved on is not always the woman who feels the most free. Second, your silence only has power when it comes from self respect, not from a hidden plan to make her suffer. That is the deeper truth behind all of this. Because if you are silent only to make her break, she still controls you. If you are silent only so she comes back, she still owns your peace. If you are silent but check in her stories every night, she still has your attention. If you are silent but posting just to get her reaction, you are still chasing. If you are silent but your whole life is built around what she might be feeling, you are not free. You are just quiet. And quiet is not the same as powerful. A man becomes powerful when his silence is connected to his standards. He stops chasing because he finally respects himself. He stops texting because he refuses to beg for clarity. He stops checking because he knows his peace is more valuable than a temporary emotional hit. He stops explaining because he understands that a woman who wants to understand him will not need him to destroy himself trying to be understood. That is the silence that changes everything, because most men do not lose respect when she leaves. They lose respect after she leaves. They lose it when they beg. They lose it when they panic. They lose it when they send too many messages. They lose it when they keep apologizing for things they did not fully do wrong. They lose it when they keep trying to prove they are different. They lose it when they watch her stories and feel their stomach drop. They lose it when they hear she is out, smiling, laughing, maybe talking to someone new, and they immediately lose control of their mind. Then they text, then they ask, then they explain, then they chase. Then they become the man she expected them to become, the man who could not handle distance, the man who could not handle silence, the man who could not handle the possibility that she might keep walking. But when you do not become that man, something shifts, not always immediately, not always in a dramatic way, not always in a way you can see, but the energy shifts because she expected a reaction. She expected you to fold. She expected you to ask why. She expected you to prove your feelings. She expected you to keep the emotional door open even after she walked away from it. And when you do not, your absence starts doing what your words never could. Your absence makes the old access disappear. Your absence removes the safety net. Your absence shows her that your love did not mean you had no standards. Your absence shows her that caring about her did not mean abandoning yourself. That is what hits different. But listen carefully. This is not about hoping she is struggling. This is not about sitting around imagining her in pain. That kind of thinking will poison you. The goal is not to make her suffer. The goal is not to manipulate her into returning. The goal is not to punish her with silence. The goal is to become a man who no longer loses himself when someone walks away, because the strongest version of you does not need her to suffer in order to feel powerful. The strongest version of you does not need revenge. The strongest version of you does not need to prove anything to another man. The strongest version of you does not need to make her regret you. The strongest version of you needs one thing: to come back to himself. That is where this begins. A man does not regain respect by chasing. He regains power by staying calm when every part of him wants to react. He regains power by stepping back when fear tells him to move closer. He regains power by controlling his emotions, rebuilding his life, and letting his actions speak louder than his pain. Now, when everyone thinks she moved on, she may be doing something very different inside. She may be comparing, not openly, not honestly, not in a way she would admit, but in small, quiet moments. She may compare the way you cared to the way other people only give attention. She may compare your patience to someone else's excitement. She may compare your loyalty to temporary validation. She may compare the peace you gave her to the attention she thought she wanted, because attention is easy, peace is rare, excitement is easy, consistency is rare, newness is easy, dustic is rare. And sometimes people do not recognize depth until they lose access to it. But do not build your life around that possibility. Maybe she compares, maybe she does not, maybe she regrets it, maybe she never admits anything, maybe she misses you. Maybe she is truly gone. You cannot live inside the maybes. A man who lives inside maybes becomes weak. Maybe she misses me. Maybe she is watching. Maybe she still cares. Maybe she is waiting for me. Maybe if I post this, she will react. Maybe if I stay silent longer, she will break. Maybe if I show her I am happy, she will come back. That is still chasing. You are not chasing with your hands, but you are chasing with your attention. And attention is energy. Where your attention goes, your power follows. If your attention is still on her feelings, her profile, her possible regret, her possible return, her new followers, her hidden pain, her private thoughts, then your power is still living in her world. Take it back. Your body needs you, your work needs you, your money needs you, your sleep needs you, your discipline needs you, your faith needs you, your future needs you. Stop giving your strongest energy to a woman who is giving you uncertainty. That is not hate. That is self respect. Now, the first mistake most men make when they think she moved on is they try to compete with the image. They see her post, they see her smiling, they see her looking unbothered, they see her maybe around new people, and their mind creates a story. She forgot me. She is happier without me. She never cared. She replaced me. She won. She is not thinking about me at all. Then his ego gets involved. He wants to post something better. He wants to show he is doing great. He wants to make her jealous. He wants to text her one last sharp line. He wants to prove she did not break him. But when you are trying to prove you are not affected, you are already affected. A man who is truly centered does not need a performance. He does not need to look unbothered. He becomes disciplined while bothered. That is the difference. Weak men try to look strong. Strong men do strong things while hurting. They train even when their chest feels heavy. They work even when their mind is loud. They sleep even when their ego wants to scroll. They eat properly even when heartbreak kills their appetite. They keep promises to themselves even when nobody is watching. That is how real confidence is built. Not through posts, not through pretending, not through revenge, through self trust. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not ask mutual friends, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. Confidence is not built by making her jealous. Confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself when your emotions are begging you to break them. Now, let us talk about the man who wants to text late at night. During the day, he can hold himself together. He tells himself, I am done. He tells himself, I will not chase. He tells himself, she made her choice. He trains, works, acts normal, maybe even feels strong for a few hours. Then night comes, the room gets quiet, the phone is beside him. His mind starts replaying the warm version of her, the way she used to talk, the way she used to laugh, the way she used to make him feel chosen, the soft messages, the private memories, the plans, the feeling that maybe this connection was different. Then the cold version comes back, the silence, the distance, the short replies, the way she made him feel like asking for consistency was asking for too much. The way she became someone he could not recognize, and then the urge arrives, text her, ask what happened, tell her you miss her. It's one final message, get closure. But be honest, most of the time, you do not want closure, you want relief. Relief from rejection, relief from uncertainty, relief from the thought that she may be moving on, relief from the fear that you no longer matter. That is the moment where a man is built or broken. A strong man tells himself the truth before he acts. He says, I want to text because I am scared. Then he does not send from fear. He puts the phone down. He walks. He trains. He writes the message in notes but does not send it. He prays if faith is part of his life. He sleeps. He lets the emotional wave rise and fall without obeying it. Pain can be felt without being followed. You can miss her and still not text. You can care and still not chase. You can want answers and still not beg. You can feel rejected and still not abandon yourself. That is emotional control. And emotional control is not about acting like you feel nothing. It is about refusing to let every feeling become an action. Because if one lonely night can make you break your own promise, your silence is not self respect yet. It is delayed panic. If one post can ruin your mood, she still controls your peace. If one memory can make you forget your standards, you are not healing, you are waiting, and waiting is not the same as rebuilding. Now, understand something important. Your silence may affect her, but your silence should not be for her. Your silence is for your peace. Your silence is for your dignity. Your silence is for your nervous system. Your silence is for your future. Your silence is for the man you are becoming. If she feels it, that is not the point. If she does not feel it, that is not the point. The point is that you no longer use your words to beg for a place in someone's life. You no longer use your messages to calm your anxiety. You no longer use your attention as a payment for her inconsistency. You no longer reward confusion with more effort. That is maturity, and maturity is rare. Now, when everyone thinks she moved on, she may still be watching for signs that you are still emotionally available. She may not even realize she is doing it. She may notice whether you view her story. She may notice whether you post sad things. She may notice whether you try to get her attention. She may notice whether you ask people about her. She may notice whether you still react when she throws out a small breadcrumb, because part of her may want to know if she still has access, not because she is evil, not because she has a master plan, but because people often become aware of value when access changes. And when access is removed, curiosity appears, but do not confuse curiosity with love. Curiosity is not commitment. A story view is not accountability. A late night thought is not change behavior. A small hey is not a full return. A woman checking if the door is open is not the same as a woman walking through the door with clarity. Remember that. Because many men fail when she sends the first small sign. She says, hey, he loses control. She says, how have you been? He pours out his pain. She says, I miss you. He forgets every boundary. She says, I've been thinking about you. He starts planning the relationship again, and then he wonders why the cycle repeats. The reason is simple. He treated a sign of curiosity like proof of change. Do not do that. If she reaches out, stay calm. If she says, hey, you can say, hey, hope you're doing well. That is enough. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I hear you. What made you reach out? If she says, I've been thinking about us, you can say, I understand. What do you want to do with that? If she says, can we talk? You can say, we can talk, but I am not rushing back into anything. That is not a game. That is a boundary. It shows openness without desperation. It invites clarity without begging. It protects your peace without attacking her. A real return can handle patience. A fake return usually cannot. If she genuinely wants to reconnect, she will respect your pace. If she only wants emotional access, she may disappear when she realizes you are not easy anymore. Let that happen. You need truth more than temporary comfort, because temporary comfort can pull you back into the same cycle that broke you. Truth sets you free. Now, let us talk about the second mistake most men make. They think silence means doing nothing. That is wrong. Silence without rebuilding becomes obsession. No contact without discipline becomes waiting. Distant without direction becomes bitterness. And bitterness turns a man into someone who talks about self respect, but is still emotionally controlled by the woman who left. You cannot just stop texting and call that growth. You have to become different. Your body has to change. Your routine has to change. Your standards have to change. Your sleep has to change. Your focus has to change. Your relationship with your own emotions has to change. Because if she comes back and you are the same man, the same cycle will return. If you still panic when she pulls away, you are not ready. If you still over explain when she gets cold, you are not ready. If you still check her stories when you feel insecure, you are not ready. If you still need her reaction to feel valuable, you are not ready. This is why rebuilding matters. Train your body, not so she notices, but so you remember your strength. Build your money, not so she regrets leaving, but so your future has options. Fix your sleep, not because it sounds motivational, but because tired men make weak decisions. Work on discipline, not to impress her, but because your emotions cannot be trusted to lead every choice. Deepen your faith or inner grounding, not to perform peace, but to actually find it. Build your skills because pain should not be wasted. Build your circle because isolation makes heartbreak louder. Build your purpose because a man without purpose becomes obsessed with people. Pain without discipline becomes bitterness. Pain with discipline becomes power. Use the pain correctly. Do not use it to stalk, use it to train. Do not use it to compare, use it to build. Do not use it to beg, use it to become steady. Do not use it to hate women. Use it to raise your standards. That is transformation. Now, here is your 7 day reset for 7 days. Do not message her first from panic. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. Do not send a soft message when what you really want is reassurance. Put that energy into training, work, money, sleep, discipline, faith, emotional control, and rebuilding your identity. Train your body even when your mind is heavy. Clean your space even when your emotions feel messy. Fix your sleep because tired men make weak decisions. Eat properly because heartbreak drains your focus. Walk when anxiety hits, brought what you want to say, but do not send it from panic. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your day before your emotions build it for you. This is not about pretending you do not care. It is about proving that her silence does not own you. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not ask about her, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. You said you would not chase. Do not chase. You said you would not beg. Do not beg. You said you would not abandon your standards. Do not abandon them. That is how a man becomes solid, and a solid man is not easily pulled back into chaos. Now, what if she really has moved on? This is the part your ego does not want to hear. Maybe everyone thinks she moved on because she actually is moving on. Maybe she is not secretly struggling. Maybe she is not checking. Maybe she is not planning to return. Maybe she is not thinking about you every night. Maybe she never apologizes. Maybe she never admits what she lost. Maybe the story ends without the scene your heart keeps imagining. Can you still become strong? That is the test, because if your healing depends on her secretly missing you, she still owns your healing. If your confidence depends on her regret, she still owns your confidence. If your peace depends on her coming back, she still owns your peace. That is too much power to give one person. The highest proof is not her return. The highest proof is your peace. Can you sleep without her reply? Can you train without needing her to notice? Can you work without checking your phone every 10 minutes? Can you stop asking about her? Can you feel sadness without turning it into begging? Can you remember her without reopening the wound? Can you love deeply without losing your frame? That is success, because a man who can do that is no longer easy to break. He is harder to manipulate, harder to pull into chaos, harder to make insecure, harder to treat like an option, harder to replace with temporary attention. That man is attractive because he is not desperate for attraction. He has direction, and direction is one of the strongest things a man can have. A man with direction does not orbit around a woman's uncertainty. He has things to build, he has a body to strengthen, he has money to earn, he has skills to sharpen, he has faith to deepen, he has standards to protect. He has a future that does not pause because one person became unclear. That is real masculine power, not forcing her to miss you, not making her regret, not playing games. Becoming the man who no longer has to beg anyone to see his worth. Now, if she does come back, and she might, do not become arrogant. This matters. Some men finally get attention back and turn cruel. They say, "Now you want me." They punish her, they act superior. They try to make her feel small because she made them feel small, but that is not strength. That is pain pretending to be power. A strong man does not need revenge to feel masculine. If she comes with clarity, listen, if she comes with humility, observe. If she comes with consistent effort, allow trust to build slowly, but do not rush. Forgiveness can happen in a moment. Trust takes time. Do not confuse the two. If she apologizes, receive it calmly, but watch behavior. If she says she misses you, hear it, but watch consistency. If she wants to talk, talk, but do not throw away your peace. That is how a mature man moves. Now, if she comes back with confusion, step back. If she says, "I miss you, but I do not know what I want," do not become her emotional waiting room. If she says, "I care, but I am not ready," do not give full access to uncertainty. If she reaches out at night and disappears in the morning, do not chase. If she wants comfort without responsibility, step back. A man with self respect does not build his peace on maybe. Maybe can have space, maybe can have observation, maybe does not get your whole heart. That is how you protect yourself. Now, ask yourself something honest. Do you want her back because she is good for your peace? Or do you want her back because being chosen again would repair the wound of rejection? Do you miss her character? Or do you miss the version of yourself you felt like when she wanted you? Do you want a healthy relationship, or do you want proof that you were enough? These questions matter because sometimes a man does not want the woman back. He wants the rejection reversed. He wants the silence to end. He wants the pain to stop. He wants one message to prove he still matters. But that is not love. That is the wound asking for validation. Real love cannot grow where self respect is missing. If she comes back with clarity and respect, listen, if she comes back with confusion, step back. If she never comes back, keep walking, because the goal is not to be chosen by someone who left. The goal is to become a man who never abandons himself when someone leaves. That is the real transformation. Now, tonight, when your mind tells you to text, do not text from panic. When your ego wants proof that she misses you, do not search for proof. When your heart wants to check her stories, do not feed the wound. When loneliness tells you to reopen a door that hurts you, breathe, put the phone down, stand up, drink water, walk, train, pray, work, das Lieg, build. Do one thing that makes tomorrow better, because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak, you can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. That is the man she may not expect, not the man who begged, not the man who folded. Not the man who kept texting until he lost his dignity, the man who hurt but stayed composed, the man who cared but did not abandon himself, the man who wanted her but did not make her hidden feelings the measure of his worth, the man who turned silence into standards, pain into discipline, and loss into direction. That man is hard to manipulate. That man is hard to replace. That man is free. So remember this, everyone may think she moved on. Maybe she did. Maybe she did not. Maybe your silence affects her deeply. Maybe she never admits it. Maybe she comes back. Maybe she never does. But your power cannot depend on what happens inside her. Your power depends on what happens inside you. Do you stop chasing? Do you stop checking? Do you stop begging? Do you stop rewarding confusion? Do you stop turning pain into messages? Do you stop making her silence the center of your identity? That is the real question. Take your energy back. Build your body, build your mind, build your money, build your peace, build your discipline, build your direction. Become a man whose self respect is stronger than his fear of being forgotten. Because the deepest truth is this: the goal is not to make your silence hurt her. The goal is to become so grounded that whether she moved on or secretly misses you, you still walk forward like a man who finally stopped leaving himself behind. And in the next video, you will learn the quiet signs she is only testing your access, not truly choosing you, and how to respond without chasing, begging, or giving away the power you worked so hard to protect.